The following is a special presentation of MRUno Division 1 Super League 2025. The knockout stage isn't just about throwing that final blow. It's a worldwide tour and expedition, no matter what high or low. And for Gon, well, he said goodbye to the competition. Top of the heat in Group A, 9 points, 3-1. Despite the loss to Lair, momentum is building. Extended rest, week 5, no problem. He learned from the Bye Island about his competitors. But tonight, there's one thing that matters. Beating your fellow European man. And that's what he has in store with the character in the background looming. Enter BC. Maybe not the best momentum after that the Dream game. But now, something special. A 7-1 over Monkey. And momentum rising. These two have known each other. Let's flash back to 2024. A flash in the pan in D2. God, backward. Two big names. Now in the Premier Class, Division 1, they're going to bring their talents. As the last two rookies play host to only one battle. Only one will survive. Who will be the king of Europe in Super League 2025 on the Asian city streets that leave no mercy behind? Because we're gone. And we have a character looming in the background tonight. It's Gon, it's background, it's Ireland, it's Wales. And it starts now on MRUno Super League 2025. It's a European showdown in the round 12. Who will top off as the top rookie? Both already hot off the dresses. And off the presses as well. Gon and Background had good group stages. For Gon, top of the heap in Group A. That's why he's the 8th seed coming in with home field. And for Background, a statement win over Monkey to claim P2 in Group B and finish right behind Acosta to give him that 9th seed. But it means more for these two. They know each other from the past in D2, but now it's the top of the echelon, the top of the food chain for one last chance to prove their worth amongst each other and who will be the king of Europe. Hello everybody, and welcome to Gon versus Background, the round 12. It's been an already frantic round 12. 2 matches in, 2 thrillers. Will we get a third one today? We'll find out shortly. Let's begin with the bracket. As I said, Gon Background coming up, winner gets Vapor. What a match it was on Wednesday night. Andy Nick came down to the last game, last card. Andy with a double back to yellow after Nick had iced him out in blue. Gets the win. He'll play Matt Johnson. And then last night, man, what can you say about Acosta? Down 2-0, finds a way to win 5 straight, and he moves on to play G. Gon Background coming up today. Winner gets Vapor. Winner of Myth and Monkey tomorrow at 5 o'clock will play me. Should be a fun one for the rest of the round. There's the Llamas bracket up on your screen. Of course, with that, it's all about one thing. You get the cool thing we reiterate, but we also have the 12 Eliminate stickers. And of course, then we have the advanced stickers as well to the people that advance to the next round. Should be a fun one for both parties. As I said, Gon won Group A, Background P2 in Group B, advancing to the round 12. Well, that's going to do it for a little bit of the pre-games. We have a special couple people in the booth today. Joining me in the booth is going to be none other than Seth Cole, who's done a lot of games, and DJ Curtis as well, as Luke joins us. Seth, DJ, it's good to have you aboard. You know, we've been wanting to do a triple threat broadcast for a while with us three. I'll have you guys take either player. I'll start it off with Seth. We're going to have Seth do Gon, DJ do Background a little bit. Seth, obviously, Gon has been a perennial force in this league now, a rookie, right? But we always talk about the rookies that have more life experience in this league than you think. It's just a number and a name tag and a plate. A lot on the line here. They both know each other. They have a lot of time to warm up after the group stage with 4 straight games. Now they enter their 5th game here. Gone coming off a little bit more rest on the week 5 bye, but he's back on the table off the island. What do you think he's got to do to shake off just a slight bit of rust and also playing a familiar foe today? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that the background history between the two of them, no pun intended, I think is definitely something they'll be able to channel. This of course was my first year in doing a lot of the streamed games, and usually I did a lot of them that involve both gun and background. I am not surprised to see these two representatives of the rookie class make it this far into Super League. In the case of Gone, I think it's basically just kind of go back to what you know. I remember there was a point where we kind of saw a little bit of the evolution of Gone, where he would step a little bit outside of his comfort zone. Sometimes it was successful, sometimes it wasn't. But now we're into Super League. Now you can't afford really to experiment. You've got to basically play to your strengths. And, I think that I don't necessarily think that having that little bit of time off is going to create any kind of rust. If anything, I think it helps you to get a little bit more mentally set, a little bit fresh in terms of knowing exactly what kind of a path you want to go down here. So, if anything, I think it makes Gone just a little bit more dangerous.
All right, we'll go over to DJ for the background, so I appreciate that, Seth. Obviously, DJ, you've been rookie in this with the stream games, still learning, still figuring out the players, trying to figure out the history. Obviously, it's good to have you back on board. I want to talk about the mental pressure because obviously you were not in this stage last year, but you did make Super League. What's the mentality going from basically a no power play format back into the fire of what we've seen for most Elite Eights and Sweet 16 rounds? Because that's what this is today, a best of 9, 1 power play. So your classic B, or your classic S16 E8 round, the only difference is 2 parties that know each other really well from the past, and they also know their play style. How do you try to get one up on your opponent when you know your play style and you know your opponent well from the past? Talk me through it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the transition from no power play over to one, that's going to shift the trajectory of how you want to adjust your play style a little bit. I think both of them will adhere to their strengths, but try to address the weaknesses they've got on hand. I mean, it should be, I would think, should be a relatively close matchup, though. Should be a very fun game in particular, I would say, but yeah, I think it's more like just addressing, what you're not so good at. Maybe change it, not change it up too much. Like, don't experiment too much, but tweak it. It's a lot about tweaking and trying to refurbish your style.
It's all about refurbishing and sometimes polishing off any mishaps. We saw it last night. We saw it the first game with Nick Annie. That game, Nick Annie was a triple play rematch in a sense, a split 1-1. The rubber match, Andy figured it out, got the job done. We saw Costalera was also a rematch, but that was in the favor of Cost. This one, we don't have a technical rematch in D1, but they know each other from D2. They know each other from afar. We'll see how they react to the accordingly questions here. We'll start it off with back. I got to make sure Gon is... Hey, Scar, can you do me a favor? Ask Gon if he's set, by the way. Let him know if ask him if he's set. All right, but I'll go to background. Background, you got a copy first off. All right. Obviously, a great Super League so far. You had that statement win. Obviously, 7-1. Sometimes you can burn a lot of that luck factor up in one match. But it's a new round. It's a new day, new dawn. You've had a great, successful Super League so far. But you also know this opponent in Gon. What are some key factors that you've been trying to do to mentally prepare for Gon, knowing that you've seen this guy from afar, you played him from other leagues, you played him maybe with a different play style compared to power play? What do you try to take into account today from Gon, his interesting tactics as I'll wait for Gon here? But as we wait for Gon, I'll swing it over to Seth. Seth, you'll be taking a little bit of the Gon side today, and DJ was doing today the background side when we get to the actual games and the first questions. But the one thing I always wonder with these two players, obviously we always get day games with both of them, is the mentality really going to really come down to the cards? We know card start will be key. We know both like mid-tier, so 7 to 10. Expect that. We know upper tier is possible towards the end if need be. And do you think last licks matter? Do you think having that home field matter? We've seen 2 for 2 on the home field so far. The better seeds have won. Thoughts on that as well as we enter Game 3 of this round 12?
Honestly, with the few games that I've had the privilege of being able to see here during Super League, I'm not necessarily certain that I buy into the home field advantage being the key component in all of this. Two things that I've noticed especially that seem to be the difference makers. The first is getting the right hand off the draw. If you've got nothing to work with, you feel like you're playing from behind. So both of these players, depending on what they choose for their respective card starts on their respective home stands, I think are going to be really keen in and looking for that ammo to make it a lot easier for them to progress further throughout each one of these games. I think the second thing that's huge is timing. I remember back to Ryan Acosta or Hasim Acosta. He seemed to be one of the best ones that was able to play just the right card at just the right time, whether it was on an offensive or a defensive play. I think that that's going to be a key thing here for both these players as well. And just to kind of hone in on something you were talking about of these two guys knowing each other from D2, I'm saying this from personal experience as well. I don't think that this is the same background and the same gone that these guys played each other back in D2. Because while you maybe don't expect it to, think about the journey that they've had, the formidable players they've gone up against here in 2025. Whether you like it or not, when you play against some really good players here in this league, you tend to recognize some of what they do and you adapt it into your strategy. So I think these are two entirely different players here in D1 from what they knew of each other back in D2.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see if we get gone here. Let me see. One sec. You good, dude? All right, there he's gone. Appreciate it, man. Well, Gon, first off, you got a copy, my friend? Well, feel free to say that with just free off background response. Just going to aim to enjoy the game. Just hope it's not only the cards that size this matchup. The winner is the sole European, to my knowledge. Yes, there is no other Europe. This is it. And you two are the last two up. Sole UUL rep and Sole Rookies Movement. Win or lose, all serious fun. I'll be fine. We'll see if Gon's got a copy right here. I think you should be able to. He's just typing it out. We'll see what he says. But yeah, no, back to what you were saying, Seth. Yeah, it's new iterations of themselves, right? We talked about both players. They started the year not knowing what to expect in the top division. Now you play almost 90 games. It's like, man, time flies, and that was all the way back in February. I guess I'll go to DJ and we wait for Gun. We talked about the evolution of player craft, because you think about it, when you play your first game in this league, it's a culture shock, and then when you play your first game in Super League, it's a whole different world, different planet. Thoughts on that, real quick?
Yeah, whole different ball game though. Everything, it always just seems to shift real fast. You mentioned like a culture shock, right? It's just, you kind of don't see it coming. I would know that firsthand though, because just everything, it just feels, it's like a different vibe you basically get. It's just kind of in your heart. It's like, oh, this is just a whole different atmosphere, and then before you know it, it could whip you. You either can flourish in it or you could flounder in it, basically speaking.
Well, and for Gon, as he'll look to flourish today, he has a long history of background, looking to have fun, extend the rivalry, try to get that Final 8, right? That's the goal. We talked about it so far, the people in the Final 8, whole different people cast the characters. We got Champion and Vapor, right? G's a tournament winner, Champion and myself, Max a tournament winner, Andy made a finale this year. Winner of this game would have had a medal. And, of course, Acosta, he made a bronze medal in T5. Only Myth and Monkey, right? One of them will also have medals. It's a stacked field in that last 8. Everybody will have at least a medal or some accolade, and one of those two will join the illustrious crew today. Well, that's it for the pregame. Going to have Seth and DJ kind of rotate the commentary. I'll keep it to be like a radio-style booth here today. Those guys know that well from racing, so it should be a fun one here today. Let's get to it. I'll be on scoreboard, and for that, we'll start it off with Gon. Gon, you know what's up, man. You know what time it is. It's time for those most famous words, Nuno. What are we thinking for Game 1, my friend? Your first ever knockout stage game in Super League. What we got? Best of 3, remember, for each player at home for the first 6. They have 3. 9 cards, my man says. Gon. Scars puts it in. Here we go. Let's get it going on. Let's do it. Let a bow tie, too. And we're underway in this round 12 around 1:20 p.m. Eastern Time. And Seth, off the bat, we talk about a couple things in this league. Mainly the switching, as Gon will play it cool. That's going to be the key, those crescendo moments, as both players are going to rock it quick here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see just how much of that light switching we have because we've seen occasions where you can use the light switching and hit it right, strike it rich with the number efficiency. We've also seen opportunities where you do the light switching and try to throw somebody off, and next thing you know, you ice yourself out in a color. So you gotta think a couple steps ahead here, especially what's at stake here today.
Yeah, and this is a big, big game. We talked about it, DJ. Both players know what they got to do in store. They basically had the respect, but it's also a rivalry game as Gun's phone goes dead. While we take that minute to get his phone back charged up, ready to go, or he could be typing here in a second. The switching is going to be the key, I think, DJ. We've seen the first two games. I studied both games. Obviously, I was there for the Nick Andy one. The switching was key as Gon plays a yellow 4. Acosta's a little different. Timing's been his thing, but background draws. You wonder who makes that first switch to open up another color. That could be the dictator of who wins and loses this first game and the series.
Yeah, it really will depend on, what's in your deck right now. Obviously, started off with 9 cards. Here we go. Color switch over to red here, KT. So, interesting to do it pretty early on, though, but probably got a lot of numbers to really dispose of real quick to get those matchups and that compatibility to really set the tone.
That's it. Setting the tone. And Gon, he's wanting to set the tone early. As background goes to his own card, but he's got the possession. He's going to draw it out right here, Seth. So puts himself in a dead-end corner. Can background respond? No, just plays it cool.
Yeah, interesting there. When Gon was iced out already in yellow, when background was iced out, Gon made the initiation. He broke them both out by bringing it over to red, and now he finds himself on the back foot after he made that swap over. Now background's able to run in it. So yeah, it kind of, we talk about that timing, and maybe if that had been a situation there, looking back at it, Gon may have wanted to maybe draw back if he knew he was going to be iced out at this point. Now we're getting into that Pandora's box territory. Green, the third color initiated.
Here comes Gon. I'll play cool, DJ. Now the question is, who has to run to the red zones? They continue to run and clean. Background lower in the score. Can Gon respond right here? He does with a heat check back to red. There's Seth. Interesting.
I like it. He was down to 2 cards. If he ended up having a wild +4 or something to close it out there with 2 cards left, then it was going to be an easy first victory for background. Use the wild here, ice him out. That was a great defensive play.
Great defensive play. Now it's Gon. DJ, go into that offensive play and possibly send background to oblivion. Here he comes.
Typing, taking his time here. So, very early to use power play. You wouldn't really want to use it ideally in game 1 here. How about that? A triplet set of plays. A duet of +2s here from a red over to yellow. Then a couple skips, and then a 4 to conclude that set. Wow, that was a plethora of action cards. 4 to be exact. And then that 4 at the end, that pretty much iced the cake. I don't really know if background could have done much there, honestly. I don't really got much questions to ask because I think it's just kind of all they wrote because I think, I think kind of spoke for itself.
Yep, Hockey G over to gold into Myth and then down for the 5-bagger to finish it off. I think Gon left the chat, did he? Yeah, he did. Okay.
He did.
Okay, I'll go to game 2 1 second. Just going to pause that. Give me 1 second. Going to operate the board here today. Okay, I have one question for him. Gon, just one question. Really, the wild was interesting. Just the one question. The fact that you were iced in red. Let me see. Iced in red. Then faded back to red wild. Did a top deck come into play there? Come into play where you felt confident to fade off back. Okay. All right, there we go. Background, I don't have really much to say on that one. Definitely a weird game because he did a good job to go back to red. Did you need something maybe in the blue? Did you need that last progression? Maybe a +2 to spice the game up? You had the early lead, but then all of a sudden, Gon just found nothing. I only had numbers. Gotcha. So, no. Yeah, nothing you could have done there. That would have only been a power play chance there, Seth. I don't think you would even dare risk it. And at that rate, it wouldn't have mattered because Gon picked the red wild, and boom, finisher to the end.
Yeah, would not have, looking at this here, would not have. Yeah, you would have gone up a game in the early going, but you wouldn't have had that power play to call back on for later on. So yeah, that's tough with a 9 card start and just all numbers. He did a good job with the number efficiency getting down to 2, but we saw all of that ammo that Gon was able to work with, and you brought up a great question there on that question to Gon. With that red +2. He was iced out in red earlier. You got to wonder how long he was holding on to that +2 for a connector there. That was interesting. I did not think we were going to be going back to red for him to be able to be offensive again.
Yeah, DJ, we'll go to you here as we wait for Gon to respond. Talk to me about the psychology of a win like that for Gon and for background. How do you bounce back? Because we've seen a lot of people fade so well and hold the phone. You want to actually read that? Go ahead, DJ. Go ahead and read that answer. Go ahead, buddy.
Oh, what Gon said? Yeah, I can definitely do that. Had the 2 yellow specials from the start, but knew they would come into play at some point. R+2 was drawn early, but again was looking for the right opportunity. And yes, his switch to green allowed me to get rid of my numbers and set up the finish. And then background says Gon was stop me with that wild. Lost by a tempo anyway. Well, he did mention that all numbers, so again, only so much you can do. The 2 yellow specials certainly helping in Gon's favor, though. And to answer your question, KT, though, I would say don't be too complacent. I know it's only game 1, still got a lot of games left, though, but you don't want to get too complacent, with a win like this. But sometimes wins that are really quick, though, just got to be a little bit careful. Sometimes a little bit of card luck in that. So time will tell here for these upcoming games for these two. So, good game 1 here for Gon. Not much luck in the card gods for background here, but maybe the fortune can switch in game 2.
Yeah, a lot of them are going to be played. Potentially 8 more games to go. We've seen a lot of different ways to win games. We've seen a lot of different ways to lose games in this league, and wouldn't be shocked if we see one of those two happen again. Oh, well, never mind. Scars, you could ping Gon, forget. He's not here yet. But ping him, Gon. Tell him no, go ahead as we wait for Gon for the game 2 call. We'll see where it goes, Seth. We talked about the early switch, and Gon was a little bit more cleaner with that. Background switched as much as he could, but when you have all numbers, as he said, all you can do is be a passenger at that rate. Hope the switches go right. But Gon, with a little extra ammo, we'll see if the whiplash happens as he'll go to the 12. You can take the start here, Seth. Go ahead, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. He goes up 3 from the initial start there, from 9 to 12. I would have thought, DJ, that more likely he would have stayed around maybe in that 8 to 10 range, see if he could end up kind of doubling back on what happened in the initial one, but now opening up the door for both himself and background to maybe get some ammo cards.
Yep, with the card. Yep. His own card.
Higher number, more opportunity for, action cards to kick in. But, obviously you're going to probably hoard that to the very end unless playing defensively right when it gets to that red zone-like territory. So time will tell. A draw from Gon here, KT. So not sure if he's got any green. Might be isolated already.
Yeah, we've seen this with Andy a lot, as sometimes you just need that one top deck. Even if you have it, what's the deck going to always produce? We talk about it all the time, really, with the Costas so far. Timing is everything. Him and Andy have been the 2 guys so far to have mastered timing this round of 12. We'll see if that top deck from Gon has good rewards and reaps the benefits later down the line.
What we also saw there with Gon on that first game, he's got the ability to not really show what he's got in his hand in terms of ammunition. He held back with that red +2. We didn't see that till the later stages. We were completely in the thought process that he was iced out of red. A lot of rookies have had the mistake where they have that ammunition and they feel, I got to use it right away. They don't have that patience factor. Gon showed it there. So with seeing him iced out in the color here in this second game, I'm not convinced that he's completely iced out in that said color.
Yeah, DJ, huge quadruple play from background. Definitely trying to set the pace, set a tone early, as Gon sent back to oblivion early.
Yep, establishing a rhythm here, having to be more on the offensive this time. In contrast, game 1, he at least had an action card this time around, but having a draw here at a blue 2, might give us some light bulbs here for Gon. If you stay in blue, maybe you might have a good indicator of what's to come here for background.
Yep, Gon going through the sweeper, as we say, just playing numbers, background, trying to get a switch to get momentum back in the favor set. There's a way to get back into the Llama Wild. There's a heater.
That'll definitely help out here. Yeah, we talked about timing, and we saw him use a lot of those ammo cards to try and establish the momentum here, gain the advantage in this second game. The thing you have to remember when you end up playing a lot of cards like that mid portion of the round is you run the risk that you're going to be giving ammo cards to the other side on all of those cards drawn back. And looks like at least for the moment, it hasn't come back to bite back round. That Wild bails him out, and now we're going to just run some numbers here in yellow.
Here comes background, looking to potentially finish it off here on a double play for the win. Loads up from the Camaro 8. Does he have the +4 combo to wrap her up to tie us at 1? Looking to search right here. And it is the +4 combo
Wow.
into Aria, and we're tied 1-1. The read was eclectic there as 2:50 on the clock. Gotcha. Well, background, you tied it up right there. A little bit similar to that first game in a sense where both players had a plan A victory, but this one was a little different. You had those 2 draw cities and an aggressive quadruple play to the blue 3. Talk me through that aggressive progression, trying to weed off some of the numbers and colors. And what did you get in those 2 draws? Was it the top deck yellow wild? Yeah, I'm going to call it plan 1.5 in a sense, plan 8.5. What you got off those 2 toppers? Gone 0 ammo. Did you have any thought of maybe trying to play a number efficient game, or do you think ultimately the only chance was the blue, right, where background was juiced? He just needed it to run a little bit more to the end. So that wild definitely helped for sure. Yeah, we talked about it, Seth, man. It's those top decks, that timely top deck, but sometimes just enough ammo, right? A little bit of ammo. You don't think that's a lot, but enough to get the win. When your opponent has nothing, that's all she wrote. And the combo and the +4 played a bit patient. Now want to do 2 obvious with the +4. Yep. It's pretty simple right there, to say the least there, Seth. Bounce enough second game,
Yeah, that's
background
huge.
ties it up. Yep.
It's almost like we seesawed from the first game to the second game, only this time it was background instead of gone. Had the ammunition, had the timing perfect, and used the patience factor as well with not using that +4 right out of the gate. I mean, consider this. If he'd used the +4 when he was out in blue, instead of waiting those couple of cards to get the regular wild and then be able to have the +4 the closeout, we could still be playing the second game right now. The timing and the patience were the factor into us having this knotted up 1-1.
Yeah, right now it's gotta say, DJs, that Gaunt's is no ammo, no real number links, have legit no options to do anything but play numbers. I think both have now got a taste of those plan 8.5 wins, as I like to call them. 4 that's a good poker hand. I think they both know the metas. Where do you think this game 3 goes? Because you talked about the upper tier start. Gone a guy to play a little bit more of that mid tier. Surprised he went upper tier. You think he adjusts that as we enter this game 3, or do you think he keeps the same pace and tries to keep it?
Yeah, I
upper
think
tier?
it's possible you can do that, but I feel like someone's gonna at least try to maybe a lower number count just to see if we can get a decent draw city and just kind of wait and load things up here. But I think a lot of people, I would say, stick with the mid for the time being. But if you're feeling a little adventurous, I'd say go higher.
All right, well, we're going to find out. God's going to have the choice. He's going to go full send. He's going to go for it right here, DJ and Seth. For that, I'll give DJ the call in this game. Go ahead, DJ.
All right, card count set to 15, starting off with a red 8 here. I've seen that numbers time and time again. Seth and I would know. Well,
maybe.
essentially, it was mostly with maybe a yellow 8 at that case. But how about that for a color switch here, Seth? A green 8. Quick color change off the bat.
Yeah, well, with the 15 card star, you got a lot of options, right? And so maybe a quick fade here from Gone, maybe planning to wrap back around to that red at some point. You know, I think at this point here, with a 15 card start, you're trying to establish color. You're trying to basically take the wheel and be in the driver's seat.
Interesting to say
Just
the least.
read their
right there.
numbers.
Not to cut you off, boys, but background played a red 1 there, got caught napping. I will give Gaunt some type of leeway at the end if needed, as we stay into the yellow now, trying to get away from that red. We talked about, Seth, we don't see any mistakes usually in Super League, but sometimes when you're in this new moment, rookie, and God, well, background, we're going to try to get rid of that red right there. It takes a little bit to get up to speed. That's the first mistake we've seen, really, from either player all of Super League, is Gone plays it clean, so background should be able to get away with that red 1 right here. There we go. We're all back to square one.
And we saw during the course of the 5 tournaments leading up to Super League where if you made a mistake, there were opportunities for you to be able to come back from them and still close out the game with a victory. You make a mistake here in Super League, you're more than likely going to pay for it. You have to be absolutely picture perfect in every single play that you do here, or else you're going to end up finding yourself playing from behind.
And well, gone now. DJ will be iced out again. Here comes background. Does he get off the red? Off that red wild into something to do a triple play. Let's see if he's got it loaded up.
Yep, typing for a good bit. Once again, that's usually an indicator of when you know they're going to have one monstrous run here.
Man.
Look at that, a quad play. Don't want to end it on a +2, though. You got to be real careful with that. Looks like background's going to type again, but you got to be careful with that because you could do a power play, and let's say you have a +2. That could really stack the tide on you in terms of ammunition.
Oh,
but
no
holy
way.
guacamole.
This is a 9-bagger, guys.
I don't think I've ever seen a bagger like this so big. Oh my goodness.
What the heck?
More than one card left.
Oh, wow.
Their possibility to do a call out here.
Gone at 21
Fallout.
cards comeback.
Oh, that's tough.
Wow.
Forgot to do the call out, so that's going to give him 3 cards. That is a big shame. Missed opportunity. Talk about those mistakes here, right? That's one of those that could really be exemplified here, and that's, Gone took advantage and pounced on it. Caught background sleeping.
Well, I'm going to say this right now, though, Seth. Actually, that was a 7-bagger, I think. Really was an 8-bagger. That's a monster play no matter what. You sent Gone back 21. You got to think now, Gone, he may not have to use the +4, right, if he has one, because of that call-out. So let's see what happens here, because that call-out changes your whole mentality compared to, just playing a +4 at 1. It definitely makes the game a little more interesting for the comeback trail, but he will use the +2s, so that's triple +2, just like that. Wow.
Woo. I mean, you got so many options, right? He could still have a +4 back there, and he was able to use the +2s, keep the +4 still in check, and all of a sudden, we're almost knotted up again here in the higher double digits. I mean, we started at a full send. We're past that here with 16 and 17 cards respectively. But yeah, it goes back to that mistake there. I'm looking back at this. I'm trying to figure out what that one mitigating card possibly could have been, because he called Uno with 2 cards left and then finished out with the red 6, still having 1 card remaining. Maybe just a slight mistake of not putting in that last card in the chain.
Yeah, we'll have to ask background on that, but just like that, DJ, the game is now erased. It's now 17-60 on the board. We're back to square one with just a little couple extra cards over the full set.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think if you look back, let's say background doesn't win this, right? Oh, they're going to be kicking themselves for that. But maybe, even if they had the Uno, maybe they would have played defensively anyway. Let's say it just didn't fully end on that, but who knows? Time will tell. We'll probably ask that question once the game comes to a conclusion here. But yeah, swapping over to yellow, though, like I said, a whole clean slate again, essentially speaking here. So some dittos with the yellow 5s, then over to a yellow 1 on background's end.
Yeah,
and I know hindsight is, sorry, I was just gonna say, I know hindsight's 2020. Obviously you can't go back, but it certainly looked like background had a 9-card finish. And in that kind of a situation, with this being in the early stages of this, I would have gone, I know you got the ability to be able to put in a command to have 4 cards played all at once. I would have gone with 1 card at a time, just to make sure I got everything correct. The worst thing that's going to happen is maybe Gone gets the idea that you have the finish as well, and you draw out the defensive power play in the early going.
Yeah, that would be a game changer for sure. Where Gone says, you know what? Mission accomplished in a sense. If that is the case, let him have the win. Let him have that big run, then hope for the whiplash. There's 2 ways to skin the cat, especially on a best of 9, and especially in your last home game. Some players are better on the road. Some players are better at home as we go to the G0. But a lot of questions going to be asked. That's Trip 0 and a Mac. That's one more for the Rainbow here for the Skittles. We'll find out. But yes, that's interesting that you pointed that out. It could be a case of you go one at a time, try to get that defensive power play, get the opponent reeling, but Gone played pretty consistent and aware as he had the call out. Here comes Gone now. What has he got? Was sent back to the Oblivion world. Let's see if he can change the mindset right here. Loading up, typing it through. Go ahead, DJ.
Yep, just, like I said, every time you see someone type for a good bit, you know it's going to be a card run. It just screams of it. How about that +4 here with the Bluetooth duet plays here? Let's see. And before I lose, it says background.
The pun.
That's his fun pun, yep. And this was double up the nom. Yeah, Seth, that's why I figured what Gon had. I figured when he got 21, you're going to get a +4. The fact that maybe that call-out changed the way he thought of the game, I don't know, because even then he still didn't hit Gon or didn't hit background with oblivious amount of cards. So you got to keep that in mind too. Maybe that call-out would have been different and the +4 would have been played. And you saved those +2s if it had not happened. So that's something to keep in mind. Here comes background, looking to respond. Goes for the triple into Eric Monaco from Myth and Leah. And just like that, Seth, both players are throwing haymakers and Gon's juiced.
Wow, that's a huge play there to have Gon juiced out. But look at that, again, the bailout. I don't know what it is. It always seems like when in the timing when somebody has somebody iced out in a color, they're also iced out in that said color, and they kind of bail each other out with the light switch.
Yeah, either that, DJ, I don't want to keep going back to Draw City because the longer these games go on, the mentality will shift from a sprint to an endurance. And while endurances are fun, sometimes those sprints are just as good when you start to see the finish line.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by the choice of switching over to green here, but I think it's probably based on what they've got left. But, yeah, I mean, you see someone iced down red. Here we go. Speaking of red, back over to it. This is going to be a good litmus test here. If Gon's got nothing on him, this is going to be a good sign if you're back down here, unless you have no red too. But the worst case is you could have a draw city. You could have a draw city indeed.
Did you say an endurance game with DJ in the booth? That never
happens.
Oh,
here's the phone. Triple play from Gon.
Oh.
That's bad. That's Tago into Ellison. Here's Yoshi looking for the potential finisher. He'll have a triple play again. He'll get the 6-pack. Oh, there it is. Yep. Bot was lagging. Wow. So Gon, that's my fault there. Out of the call. Did not check the table. Gon gets the 21-card comeback. Scars, make note of that for Game 3. What a win right there. I got to go over this background, though. First, background, obviously, Seth believes you had a butchered play there, a 9-bagger fin, or did you just forget the Uno call?
He did. He had a blue skip. That's what he didn't put into the combo.
Yeah, that's a killer. Yeah, because that changes the whole game then. Because at that point, this should have been null and void, 100%, Seth. Because at that rate, Gon wouldn't have got all this cards. So Gon, you get away with murder right there. Great table awareness. Did your mindset change a little bit after that 3 cards given to save that +4 and hit him with the +2s? Because you basically reset the game. Talk to me through that. Did you have a thought maybe just playing it clean, not worrying about those +2s with the 3 cards, or did you just worry that, you know what, sometimes those call-outs, it can reward them. Just play it safe, hit him with the +2s, Oblivion, and reset the game. Talk to me about the reset of the game and getting away with Little Murder. And that's the thing, Seth, we talked about these are rookies, right? That's a rookie mistake, but at the same time, the only piece that background can have, at least background took 1 game off Gon's homestand, but how does he try to bounce back for something like that, especially when you have a guaranteed win, up 2-1, now down 2-1, have to let go of that mistake in a short notice?
You got to put it out of your mind. You got to put it out of your mind. Exactly the same mentality that he had when he was down 1-0. He was able to find the cards, find the ammo to be able to draw it back 1-1. He's got to go back to that. He's got to completely put out that mistake out of his mind. You mentioned about the fact these guys are rookies and they're up here in Super League. There's going to be that added pressure for these guys to be able to perform, and I can completely understand. You're trying to get all that what would be almost a historic 9-bagger finish here in this matchup. You missed that 1 card to put in. You've got that pressure there, and you feel a little bit rushed. You just got to draw back. You got to take a deep breath, and you got to approach it the same way you did back in Game 2.
That's the difference, DJ, with power play. And because with no power play group stage, it doesn't matter. Background is not going to send no 9-bagger. Probably going to send maybe a 2 or 3 at a time at most, right, to finish it. But there's no power. With the power play lurking, at some point, Gon could have, you know what? Perfect time. Let me hit him with the power play defense, and then you got to rethink your plan. So definitely that power play is still lurking in your mind on both offense and defense. Even though it's 1, it changes the way you play the game. And I think background now understands, hey, you know what? Sometimes it's better just to, as Seth said, try a 1 or 2 play, right? Just do a 2-bagger and then, boom, hit it with the finish, or try a 1-bagger and then go for a 4-4. So that's something background could look into as we move forward. Thoughts on Gon stealing the game right there and what he's got to do in his home stand, or in his away stands. Background will get home.
I mean, honestly, he's played. Excuse me. He's played really darn good. I mean, just keep doing the way you've been playing it, because it just seems like it's worked real well. And just be vigilant. Vigilance is a big thing here. I know background's going to learn from that mistake there from game 3. Like I mentioned, like if this goes to Gon, background's going to be kicking himself. But like Seth said, alluded to, don't beat yourself too much over it. It's going to happen. You're just going to make those mistakes every here and there. So it's just something you got to write maybe in the back of your brain here, back of your mind. Just go on. But if you're Gon here, I think he's got that momentum swinging real well here. But again, just being vigilant, being aware of what you've got in store. Stuff like those call-outs are really like the Uno's not being called and using that call to your advantage. And you still have that power play in tow here. This is kind of that realm where you can start maybe considering using a power play. But again, probably maybe towards the latter half. I'd say those later games is probably ideal. But if you're really desperate, yeah, you can go for just the ice, maybe that game you want. So, and if you're really desperate for it.
Yeah, and Seth, that's what it's going to come down to, man. It's going to come down to, as you said, that amnesia. You almost want to have that short-term memory, say, it's out of sight, out of mind. And you try to adapt and adjust from there. Well, we'll get to it.
We always have people say, one game at a time.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the one thing in this league. We talk about one game at a time, one play, one step at. That's the beauty of this league, man. It seems like the pressure builds, but in reality, what do you got to do to eat an elephant? One bite at a time. What do you got to do to go up the ladder? One step at a time. It's the beauty of it, right? Just a simple analogy. Sometimes you got to get back and lock in. All right, well, I know where we're headed here, but we'll just ask for formality. Background, your call, Game 4. Welcome to the knockout stage for your first home game. Let's go to the OG7. Now, DJ, we'll go to you here, buddy, with the call. Go ahead.
All right, starting. Whoa. How about that? You start off with an action card with a +2 from the get-go. At least that's what the card bot wants to give you. But Adoree takes an action card off the bat so far here. Yellow 9 back down to a number here with a yellow 8. It's very interesting to have an action card at the very beginning here, Seth.
Yeah, but this is background. This isn't Acosta, so he's not going to play into it. I think Acosta's the only person I've ever seen that's played off the action card with a start of +2, and immediately Gon is iced out in yellow and finds the light switch, but that's at least a telltale sign there for background. This could be kind of shades of game 2, where background's going to be able to establish the momentum, but as soon as I say that, we might be heading to some Draw City.
Draw City, who will get the top deck first? Here comes background. Oh, he checked Ashley Wild off the bat here, Seth. That's making a statement early.
Yeah, definitely is. Now you got to wonder what he's got in red. Oh, it doesn't matter, because Gon had something in red as well. He'll double play.
Yeah, DJ, right there off the bat, you can see Gon not wasting time, throwing the heater, trying to prevent any... Now, you got to think about it for Gon, too. You just saw a potential 9-bagger happen in that last game. So sometimes you have to cover yourself off, and Gon does a great job covering that one off.
I think the thing is, what's the likelihood of even having a 9-bagger? Like, having those big card runs are so unlucky, but you never know. And that's the scary part of Uno and how these players can interact with these cards. If you just have a God-tier deck, and here we go,
Yep.
Double play here from background here with a +4 and a green 2. So let's see what Gon has in response here. We'll switch back over to red.
Oh boy, that's an ISO play right there. He found the number efficiency. That in a way kind of... Oh, never mind! Little split ammo there! Double +4 from background!
Yeah, it's
Just the notes.
Split ammo, it's Dark Lair into Radin, triple play, and just like that, we're tied up. And that was vintage Chomik and Allen right there. We talk about it with Chomik now. Those are the two guys we always think about split ammo. That's exactly what Chomik and Allen. And your +2 gave me a set. Oh, that's...
The return. We
That's
talk
it.
about it all the time.
Yeah, we talked about this, DJ, and we said so far in Super League, the one player that's just been so good with the returns has been Acosta. This time, it was background getting a little bit of that return. Gon, obviously, a little bit of a makeup game potentially there from the the game 3 where you stole that one. Background gets the win. Did you have something potentially cooking on maybe blue you needed? Or, because I did a good fade in that one wild, or did you try to potentially ice him out? But I don't think you really have many options there at the end of the day. Yeah, it was a good +2. The only thing I could have maybe gone, could have had blue some save, maybe we have a workaround, but I don't know. It's the only thing I could really ask. Background, good win. Don't have much there. I was a plan, I guess, let's call it 8.25. We'll call it a quarter right there. Not a plan AA, but just the plan 8.25. We'll call it that. But yeah, well, so far, Seth, I'll go to you here, buddy. 2-2. Both players have been dialed in. This is our first chance to just need to try to ice him, which is positive. Yep, gotcha. So far, both players have had some good luck. Both players have had some solid gameplay. Thoughts on this best of 5 now, as the power play will start to lurk in, and I think more importantly, the momentum on a mid-tier start, right? That OG start, going into that lower tier. Background gets the win. And that's what Background did against Monkey last week. Those lower tier starts started to find the rhythm. Thoughts on what both got to do here as we go into this best of 5 now?
Yeah, I think in terms of the power play now, I'm kind of wondering with what we've seen in these first four games, how is the power play going to be utilized? I'm thinking maybe more so defensively, because we've seen some massive runs out of both of these individuals, and we saw that split ammo there from Background. I almost think with what we've been able to see, these massive offensive plays to close out all 4 of these games, I feel like the power play is going to have to be used in a defensive capacity here. We're going to have to wait and see, though, because as you said, it seems pretty even right now, and with Background having the homestand here, we're gonna have to see if that gives him the advantage or if we continue just the seesawing.
Well, DJ, I think that's going to be the key, man, because with the seesawing effect, with the stats being pretty interesting in the sense that Gon has had more +2s, Background more +4s, it's been pretty even. Otherwise, everywhere else on wild skips and reverses for the most part, pretty even. It's going to come down to a little bit of that seesaw effect. Who can make the most clean games, no mistakes, and potentially that one light switch to fade back for a win. Let's get to Game 5. I'll let you do the honors. Background, no 7-12. DJ will get the call. Here we go. Whoa, no send.
Low cards. 5 cards to start it out. Let's see what we've got in store here for Game 5 here. Starting off with a green 0 here. Green 5. Just going to roll with the colors here. Could you imagine if you had a real good card deck with 5 cards here, Seth? Could you imagine?
This is a pendulum swinger type game right here to see where is the momentum going to go, whether it's getting lucky on the initial 5-card start or getting lucky with some top decks.
Well, this is exactly what Gauntz wants, because he's going to get the switch over. He's down at 3. This can go quick, fellas. Here comes Background looking for the tie. Oh, a +2 stops that. Great job. Great job from Background. Now Background leads. This is the beauty of 5 cards, DJ and Seth. As both of you said, which way the pendulum's going to swing right now, it's in both hands here. Oh, but the switch over to Eric.
Spicy.
Man.
Comes Gon. What does he got right here? Can he find a way to stop Background just like that red +2 working?
Wow.
Oh, he goes to the yellow. That's new.
That's crazy.
That's not an ISO. That's breaking it open into the 4th color.
Oh my goodness.
Background played into it.
1 card left.
Gone for the
But
double
does Gon have a
finish.
finish?
No, he's double.
doesn't.
They both.
Background for the win right here.
Boy.
Oh, God gets it.
Oh, he had
steal
the
it.
draw. Does God have it?
He does.
Wow, that is a fast 5-card set.
Wow.
That's the fastest 5-card set I've ever seen. These games have been so quick, with the exception of Game 3. That's the only outlier. These games have been under 4 minutes long. Who would have thunk with this set of games so far? We've had a very fast-paced match, but I've never seen a game, really a card set starting with 5 this quick. At least I don't think I've ever. Usually they've lasted maybe like 3 minutes at best, but a minute 23? That's insane.
God, I'm just going to assume he went for the gap right there, man. But did you get something? Did you get something off that +2? Did you get that wild off that +2? Or did you have that from the start? Because really, that made the difference of the game. Just a gamble. Remember, we hadn't been to yellow. That was a gamble and a half. To have the confidence to go there to win. Had the wild from the start. Man, that's That's crazy. You look at that set. The ironic part, Background's last card on Uno was a yellow 5. Gon's final card to win the game was a yellow 5.
Wow.
It's
How about
micro
that
margins. Micro margins.
little poetic justice, if you will, for Gon? And again, we talk about this. These guys are rookies. They're playing like veterans. They're playing like legends here. The number efficiency, the timing of the ammo was perfect on both sides.
It's the micro margins, DJ, and we talked about it here. Gon says, I have to go aggressive. I gotta swing that pendulum back in my favor. And now he's up 3-2, and this is where the power play will start to come up. But we didn't see the power play to finish a series yet so far. We saw Andy and Nick, they used their power plays differently. I think Andy to try to get ahead, and you can answer that Background. What do you mean by that? Red. Oh, okay. Did you have a double 5 finish, Background? I think that's what he means. Yeah, you can answer that, no problem. But it's interesting. We saw Andy and Nick, they didn't use their power plays to finish the job. Had a 0, gotcha. We saw last night, ironically, I looked back at the game, and Acosta didn't win the series with the power play. His goal was to get up 4-2. So that's exactly where Gon's at right now here, Seth. Thoughts on that with the power play? Now it starts to come into play because when you're up 3-2, having that 4-2, especially if you're Gon, even with no power play, you got to force the opponent to win 3 games, even with it. Your thoughts on the power play coming into play now? Because it's definitely full send right here in terms of that in the forefront.
I think it depends on the situation of what you've got in your hand. If you've got a full plan A right off the rip and you need that power play to link together those cards for the run, I think that you're immediately thinking that for a 4-2 advantage. But if you're looking at your hand right off the bat and thinking, oh, I don't know if this is a winnable one, I might need some help with this, with some drawbacks, I think that you then are not really thinking about the power play in this Game 6. I think you're waiting until you are able to maybe make something happen to get to a 4-2 advantage and use it to close out. It's really all going to depend, I think, on the situation for Gon.
Yep, Game 5 was really a game of inches, I guess would be the right word. It exemplified a photo finish in a nutshell because both of them at Uno, it just ended up being Background just coming up shy. That felt like a knife fight for Game 5. I don't know, that intensity for that absolutely ramped up the ante here. Game 6 should be very, very spicy, though. And like you mentioned, Seth, right, it's very situational when you want to use that power play, right? You know, like you said, you got a good hand on you, you feel very confident, I would agree. I would go for it too. If you're not, yeah, just focus on drawbacks, maybe helping, maybe let's say your opponent gives you a +2, dabs you up with a +2 or a +4, and let's say they're not at that finish line yet. Maybe hope that ammunition that gives you, you know, what you want. You know, the card gods can give and take what you want.
We talked about it here, Seth and DJs. Consider using the power right there. Consider using the power play right there, but the day just had the chance of him having another color, and luckily the game will pay out. Power play would definitely be in the mind, try to push out the lead. There you go. So that's the mindset. But we talked about, you know, bringing those knives to the gunfight. I think these are swords and these are gladiators in Europe, right? These are 2 gladiators, right, on their horses, on their chariots, coming to the battlefield. They know what they got to do, and obviously we're in Asia, right? We're in Thailand, but they're in the center square in downtown Bangkok, bringing their chariots a little bit of flair to the Asian flair. But it's sunset, exactly, sunset there in France. So the sun's setting for both. The question becomes, which one will outlast the sunset? All right, we'll go to Game 6. We'll be DJ again on the call. Background with the choice. Background, you tried 5, didn't work. Still no 7-12. Full send. Here we go.
Yep.
All you, DJ. Go ahead, buddy.
Starting off here, green 7 here, off a full send here. We've got 2 of them in this series, so that should be some nice fun and games here. But yeah, green 7 to start off here. Just going to roll along with the money here with a green 4 to follow one toe. Let's see what Gon has for us based on his artillery of cards.
Yeah, you couldn't see it, obviously, but as soon as we saw Background put full send in the chat there, I nodded my head and like, yep, I fully expected that, because he tried what he knows, that classic 7, it worked out. He then thought, well, let's try the low tier. Let's go to the furthest we can at 5. It didn't work out in his favor, and I thought, we're going both ends of the extremes, aren't we?
You got to go to the other end.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we see this a lot with Ghost. He's one of those guys, the 5-15 didn't make Super League, but we saw with Toasty, one of the guys that made. But But Toasty had a little bit different issue. It was just the fact that he had a lot of rematches in his group. But with this game, both players know each other really well as we go to the Zero Sugar and the Jenna. I think trying this extreme method, not the worst move, and I think both players know that at some point to get an advantage in this micro-margin game, maybe a potential extreme play could be the difference as we'll go into the Aria 1 as we roll here, Seth, early.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of numbers right off the gate here, even if we see some light switching. I think it's going to be mostly numbers. These guys have been really good in storing any ammo that they've gotten off the bat with these higher card starts to be able to have those really massive finishes to the close. And we're going into some pretty rapid light switching there. We only spent a little bit of a spell in yellow.
Couldn't quite complete the traffic light there, but went over from a yellow to a blue here. Just going to stick around with the water here as background moves over to a blue 1 here. So I'm liking these color changes here, but not much in the yellow here. I'm wondering, could be a fade, right? Could be a little bit of a bluff, right? Maybe that Gon has maybe no yellow on him, but I feel he's got some on him. It's just really wanting to get probably a lot of numbers stockpiled up in blue.
Oh, but background triple play. How about that set to get out of the blue? Ellis and Yoshi and the Riders in the yellow this time.
I like that on two fronts. One, it gets you out of that color, but secondly, before there was a double play in green with the reverse by Gon that took away background's home advantage. Now he gets the advantage back with that double play with the reverses.
Gon playing it cool. Here comes background into the yellow too. Can Gon figure out a way to get back to blue potentially with the icer? No, keeping it yellow. Does background run out? Yeah, there it is. There it is, Seth. Runs out.
Yep. And I think we're in that red zone territory here as well. 15-card start. We saw what was almost a closeout with 9 cards before. We're now down in the 5-card range.
DJ, you mentioned every time we think they're just stuck in a dead end, someone's going to bail each other out. Gon bails out background to the red.
Yeah, I don't think they intend to bail each other out because it's just based on whatever they've got in their cards, what they've got to pre-plan ahead of time here. So I think Gon figured out this is a great time to switch over to red. I've got some red left, so let's get rid of that. And, well, background says thank you very much, but do it of action card action. Let's just say that to be redundant here, but and wow, a draw here over at yellow. So that's an indicator that background likely doesn't have any yellow on him.
I was going to say, it's got to be split ammo. He had to have a +4 in his hip pocket with using that wild for an ISO.
I had an inkling, too, on that. And beat me to the punch as he did that. Just a couple punches and jabs, and it worked out for Gon here.
Yeah, that's crazy. So that's back-to-back games where Gon seals it basically on a yellow wild. The last game, the yellow wild. This basically the yellow wild sealed it. Background, tough loss right there. I just don't know if you could have done much that game. You seem you only had played numbers except that one triple play. Did you need it to stay, ironically, blue potentially? Or yellow to try to get something going, or just ran out of time? So it was a skip reverse meta hand, right? And that reverse skip meta hand, just too draggy, I guess. That too draggy of a hand, especially with Gon having a wild and a +4 kicker. That's usually game for sure. It's just a way to save it.
It's 2 avenues for Gon to be able to get it back to yellow, right? Which background was iced out, and unless you can get over to those colors where the reverse skip meta is, it doesn't do you a whole lot of good.
Yeah, and Gon, I don't really have much to say other than good finish, but I will ask one question, man. In a lot of those situations, when you see somebody like background go to the blue-yellow, most people flip it back to blue to hope for the ISO. Why didn't you flip it back? Did you just feel confident that at some point it was going to run out of yellow? Or just the fact of the matter of, you know what, I'm just going to hold it here and play the odds and percentages on the card history. Talk to me through that a little bit, Gon, how you played conservative right there to get the win as you are 1 away. DJ, I'll go to you here, buddy. What a play there from Gon, though. The fact that he didn't flip it, because most do, going with the percentages potentially. Just the fact that you had the triple play there, most people would go back to blue after that blue reverse yellow for I'll ping you there. There you go. Here, Gon. Most people would go back to blue. Talk to me about not going back to blue, staying yellow, staying disciplined, and not trying to rush anything and leave any clues. But back to you, DJ. Obviously, to stay disciplined there from Gon, get background with a little bit of a draggy hand. How does Gon approach it now? Because he has multiple ways to skin the cat. He's got potentially 3 more games to work with. He's got home. Sure, there's no more full send, but power play and the 3 shots at the apple, you got to like his chances here as he has a chance to close it out in 7.
Yeah, if I were him, I'd like my chances too. I mean, it's just so good. He's just played perfect, but also just had some good draws. It's not to discredit anything, but it's just like you live and die by the sword of the card bot, so the Uno bot, basically. But I mean, like I feel like I look back at like Game 3, for example, right? Like what could have been for background here. You can't say it's over yet, though. But you just kind of look back at that. I feel like you still look back at that. You're like, oh man, if I just at least sealed that Uno or had that, typed it correctly, when you're in a run like that, you do need to take your time with it, right? Just make sure you're not screwing anything. Double check you have to. Maybe even bait them to do a power play. But granted, with it being Game 3, very early though. But with Gon, you have kind of limitless options. You still have that power play. You could go old school and flex and just win the game straight up if you're that confident. But I feel if you're him, yeah, use that power play. Kind of a no-brainer, I feel. Unless you got a real bad deck on your hands. Because anything could change in the game of Uno, and that's what makes it so beautiful and wild and chaotic as is. So background still has to have some ounce of life in him, and I'm sure there should be some momentum, but time will tell here with Game 7.
We got Monopoly Man in here, Pro Check Guard. I see him with the old Monopoly GIF or the Monopoly Discord quest there, maybe potentially getting that off. But I always think back to this game's never over. It's, yeah, of course, background, we got to get off that one game where he should have won. Okay, it should be 3-3 for sure. We'll go 14 before we get there. I thought about the one time background made a comeback, and it was against Tapir, down 4-2. He won that 5-4 comeback. I wasn't there, but I do remember that. That's something to keep in mind. We'll go 14 cards. Gon looking to go for the jugular on a double OG. We'll start it up. I'll take the call. We'll go into the Brian 9. Will this be the final game, or is background send us back to home on a Game 8? Let's find out. And that's going to be the key, Seth, as background or Gon does the switch. Is the switching going to be the one thing to keep in mind moving forward? Because when you're Gon at disadvantage, you can switch at will, and you don't have to worry about consequences, especially with 3 shots at the apple.
We also have to remember, too, the last homestand that Gon had where he went into that upper tier at the full send, he had nothing for ammo cards. Background had all the ammo cards. They were in the upper tier start once again, and we do have to remember that Gon's not going into this matchup the only one with a power play. Background has his as well. You end up getting some ammo cards here in a 14-card start, utilize your power play. Background could be going into his next homestand down 4-3.
Yeah, that how costly will that mistake be with that 9-bagger? Should have been in there, but here comes background, and already off the bat, DJ, background knows down. You got to start firing away with some pressure on ammo. Fires it early right here.
Yep, just got to be basically more of a risk taker when it comes to the stakes like this. Because what else do you have to lose? Well, I mean the series obviously, but point being, when you're down, you got to take chances. You got to take more and more chances and just hope it pays off. Being more aggressive with color swaps. Being more aggressive with action cards, though. Obviously, you don't want to get too aggressive to where maybe, let's say, like they got 15 cards, you suddenly do a +4. Now that's obviously silly, but who knows? You kind of you just have to take that big Hail Mary move to make sure it works. And again, like Seth mentioned, there's still that power play that background has. So I mean, if he beats Gon with a punch here, this should spice things up.
It looks right now. It looks like Gon is down a couple possessions, looking to potentially ice it right here and get this back to a tie game or flip the scoreboard. Here he comes, loading up. What has he got in store? He will go for the classic. This has been his classic moveset, a skip into a wild. This time, Larry KT combo. Where do you think he goes from here? That's an interesting move.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's interesting because he ended up actually making the light switch off of red into yellow and then goes back to, went into the blue, and I think he was trying to ISO play here, but background having something in reserve. So I'm not exactly sure if that was an ISO play or if that was color possession established play there.
Background throws the heat check, DJ, into the red plus.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, negated.
I think it's a good move because you got to think at some point we've seen the split ammo. We've seen John do perfect split ammo, Chama Gallon style. Guess what? That's a defensive measure for background. How does Gon respond? Here we go.
Real question you would have now is, does Gon play defensively here? Because background does have only a triple amount of cards, basically 3 cards left. So you got to think, do I have a +2 or a +4 that can help complement that, essentially speaking? So it's getting real close, real tight and gritty here. Background just got to hope that Gon has nothing left in him, at least for this. But I'm sure there's going to be... No, actually just rolls with a number here. So interesting. And looks like, yeah, red 7. Wondering what he's got left for those 2 cards here, Seth.
Right now, if you're background, you're relying on the number efficiency. Doesn't look like there's any ammo to use in red
Power
here.
play. That's going to send us to game
power
8.
play.
That will guarantee
That's it.
Yep.
Oh,
just got to type it right, but yeah. Well,
I wonder if this is a number efficiency closeout here for background. Maybe double 7s?
Gon says yellow.
Most
Let's
likely.
see. It's either that or it's just a classic.
Like a
7.
wild. No, it's 7s. It's yellow.
There you go.
Wow.
How many 7? He had at least 4 7s that I know of. He had double green 7s earlier on as well.
Five.
Wow.
You know, funny if he had one more, would have made that really funny meme.
Oh God.
I still don't understand that meme. I know it's a thing, but I still
It's
don't
just
understand it.
it's based on that really bad song. It's just that, because just the song's so bad, it's just literally just, because the guy that just sings just 6 7, and that's literally it. It's so bad.
Jesus Christ. I want to go to background here, though. You know, using the power play there, do you think at that point it's just too risky to give him a chance to fire away? And do you think that the fact that you had to play a little more defensive knowing you're behind makes the game almost easier, as that's the hand? There's the 5 7s. You know what, Seth? That's actually not a bad hand, because we talked about it. We see this a lot with Lamas. He always mentions this. If you give me a poker hand with a +4 and something to work with, I can make it work. In that case, that was enough to get the job done for background. There it is.
No, I don't dislike that hand either. And you look at those 2 green 7s, that was a huge turning point, I think, of the game. When he played his first green 7, Gon countered and brought it to blue with the blue 7, and then background was able to bring it right back to green because he had the double 7s in that said color. I actually do agree with him using the power play there as well, because when you're ending out a number efficiency, you're swapping over to another color. We knew that Gon didn't have anything in red, but then you initiate it either over into blue or into yellow. I don't know. Does he have ammo that can come back to bite me? So I like using that power play there, icing him out and making sure he had the finish.
Had a weak hand, needed to win every game, holding it. Yeah. Yeah, I think the only thing that I'd say had saved it would have been the 5 7s. I mean, Gon, for you in this case, you made a bold play. It's been working so far this entire series with the wild play, usually into a skip wild. Why didn't it work there? Did you need it to stay blue, or do you think that +4 ultimately puts you from a plan A to a plan C, and you just didn't have enough time to recoup and regenerate a strategy to get the win? Or did you run out of time and that +4 ultimately saved him? Talk to me through it. Yeah, I mean, it's now a best of 2 here, DJ, and you look at both players, now background, out of power play. Now Gon's going to have 2 games. All he's got to do is win 1, has the power play, so now he doesn't have to worry about rushing his plays. He can take his time, use that power play. Talk to me the mindset if you're Gon here to try to finish the job done.
Yeah, like you mentioned, you can take your time. He can't do a defensive power play on you, so just don't mess up the command, basically speaking. If you have a good card run to the end, and obviously you don't want to fall asleep on forgetting to do the Uno, because, you know, the Uno call-out still exists, obviously. So, yeah, if you're Gon, I mean, I wouldn't panic too much, but you never know. And momentum shifts can exist for a reason. Can't rule that out. But, like I said, still have that power play in tow. And, you know, obviously you're going to want to use it offensively. What other reason would you want to use it for, honestly? But yeah, I still think, I mean, if you're Gon, yeah, you got a lot of time in your hands with these cards. You got to have some good card draws here, and if you can get a good bagger here, yeah, you could be pretty much set.
This number spraying situation when that +4 came in, as I did. Only option was to switch to yellow, which wouldn't have helped, so can't complain except maybe holding the lock. Gotcha. So yeah, basically, yeah, it was a run to the end with Naslike. Gotcha. With numbers, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I think that's it, Seth. Now, if you're background here, you almost have to saw what you did. You saw what you did that game. You didn't have much. and that's not usually a good sign on the upper tier, but you have to play defensive. You have nothing to lose at this rate. No power play. You have no mechanisms really to help other than playing defensively and have to use some of the ammo to get this plan Z. You got to get this basically to plan G, E, F, G, all that. All the other letters in the alphabet. Because if it's just plan A, B, Gon has the number right now. But if he can get this to a plan G and beyond, I think that's when the game gets spicy, for sure.
You mentioned the key thing there, using the ammo. That's the only defense mechanism he's got right now against the power play. You want to build a 2, 3, maybe even 4 or 5 card cushion between your hand and Gon's hand to take away that power play advantage. So a lot of times we've been seeing here they want to hold on to that ammo near the end. Now you're going to have to hope and pray for split ammo on this next hand if you're background. That way you can use a portion of it to be able to keep that power play at bay on the other side, plus be able to then use the remainder to be able to close it out and knot this thing up 4-4.
Well, we're about to find out what Background's going to do because it's his call. It's his last chance to make it happen right here at home. Let's see what it's going to be. Background knows 7, 12, or 14. I like this move, Seth. You'll take the call on 10.
Yeah, it's right in the middle, right, of that upper area. You're not necessarily given a whole ton of ammo to either side, but you're maybe having those 1 or 2 important cards there. And not Ryan Acosta doing the culture here. We're doing the culture on both sides with the drawback on the wild.
Yeah, there's a couple other players I know. Mac, there's a couple other guys that don't do it. But we'll see how it goes. This is interesting, DJ, because now we're back to a 10-card start. And the way I look at it, in my humble opinion, is the switching for Gon needs to be clean. Because if Background's going to play defensive, the way to combat that is play clean switches. I think that's going to be the difference of the series, especially with the power play in your back pocket.
Oh, I agree. Oh, wow. Drawing at yellow this fast?
That's big for Background. Yes, that's exactly what Background needs. Gon needs to keep drawing. But is he just testing the deck? Let's see.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? And for Background, maybe there's ammunition that Gon doesn't want to use yet in that color, but you love this if you're Background and the fact that you're not having to use ammunition to be able to build that cushion I was talking about. You can just have Gon drawing back and use the numbers, whittle the numbers down. This saves all that ammo that you might have for the latter portion.
Place the blue forward and up. Here comes Gon, but he'll get out of it with the blue. Maybe it was juiced on the yellow, but blue was his color. We'll find out. Background looking to load back in. Oh, there's the yellow. That's exactly what Gon doesn't have, Seth. That's huge.
That's an ISO play there when Background made the swap off of yellow to blue. So are we thinking has a +4 in reserve, kind of like what Gon did a couple of games ago?
Could be a monster hand, DJ. Let's see if Gon reacts.
Oh.
He does.
Double play here, +4 with a back to blue. That's interesting. Back to blue, though, so maybe it's a sign. Doesn't have any yellow on him, but let's see what Background's got in store. Will he punch back?
Background looking to punch back in the background. He does. He got the lead again. It's scoreboard flipper, 7-10 split now.
Staying in blue.
Nothing.
And if anything, you siphoned out that +4 if you're Background. That's huge. Taking away that opportunity to have that power play link with a +4 at the end.
Well, guess what, gents? Back to yellow from Background. Gon, not feeling it, and he'll feel it this time, but is that off the +4 return? That's why he's feeling it? We'll find out. Comes Background.
Certainly would have to think so if it's a number.
What's it going to be from Background right here? He goes for a triple, DJ. He's playing this really good. I got to admit, he's playing this really good, playing aggressive when need be, and forcing Gon's hand.
Yeah, real good shift in the trajectory so far here.
Another
and
one.
a while back over to yellow. This is great. The color switch has been great, and Gon's drained here yellow.
That's
big. That's big.
+4 finish, potentially, I would think here. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Use the yellow while for the ISO and close it out. That's literally what Gon did to him two games ago.
Unbelievable. There's really
A bit of a know-you notion.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say on that one, Seth, because God, I don't think you could have did anything, buddy. No yellow, really juiced. I mean, that's crazy, Seth, but just no yellow. Yeah, that was the difference. Just not enough of the other 3 colors. If you had been to any other color, would it have been different, Gon? If you had been another color?
I mean, what did I say for background? He needed a split ammo hand. He got it. That's exactly what he needed with not having a power play now.
And nothing else, anyways. Gotcha. Yeah, and now it's game 9. These two have been in game 9s before. That +4 helped me. Gotcha. Good return. That's what we talked about, Seth. These returns, right? Sometimes those returns are just a thing of the past, or sometimes they're just beauty. And in this case, it was not a thing of the past. It was beauty for background. He ties it back up. Now, Gone will still have the advantage, right? Still has the power play. But we talk about that, Pat. You got to get an opportunity to use it. If you never get the opportunity to use it, then it's useless. So that's going to be the key on this start, because he won't have full send, right? He won't have no send. He won't have 9, but he has opportunities on other card starts to seal this off. Give me one key to this game for both you and DJ here. So we'll start at you. Who's going to get the job done? What's the one key?
I think the biggest key in this one, depending on what we have for a card start, is their split ammo. I think it's much like it was in that last game for background. You're going to need the split ammo to be able to combat the power play. But in the case of Gone, you need the split ammo as well. We saw him have to get his +4 flushed out here in this previous game. He didn't have anything else to complement it. I think both of these guys have to have that split ammo for the power play to be able to be utilized if you're Gone, or to be able to negate the power play if you're background.
DJ, what's the one key? Go ahead.
Oh, just that power play is still going to be a factor. I know Gone has lost these last few games, but it's just needs some better card draws here. Like Seth noted, the split ammo background has just been able to capitalize that efficiently here. And, like you mentioned, drain that +4. That was big, and who knows? Momentum shifts a thing, and I mentioned that earlier, right? And so far, it's really come into play here. Oh, man, we've got a game 9 in our hands, though. Gone still has that power play here. Let's see what he's got. Let's see what background's got. Should be a banger game 9.
I'll take it from here, boys. Scars puts in its 11 cards. It's the last game. Winner gets Vapor for all the money. We started off with the Lara skip. Here we go. We'll start it off with the money, too. Well, it's going to come down to who will be aggressive. That's going to be my one key. I think the aggression factor. We saw Gone do some wild plays to win. Background playing a lot more aggressive recently after the power play was juiced. And Gone's going to be the first one to be aggressive here, DJ. Into the lead, into the island, double play, takes the lead aggressively.
Whole shift here, though. Once background played aggressive, you got to be aggressive right back. All attack, no chance here. A swap over to blue from background's end here. What does Gone have in store?
First switch there, Seth, from background. After Gone made the official switch off the skip, what does he have in turn? Let's see what we have right here on the back end.
If you're background, I think you're searching right now, and it's going to hurt him there. That search is going to be a return of a +2. However, we haven't seen him necessarily be all that burned by the +2s. He's gotten some pretty good returns when the ammo's been shot at him, so we'll see if that's the case here.
Here comes Gone already at 6. This is going to be a game over right here. Is he going to send us home this early? Let's see.
He's got the power play. If he's got the 5 cards, he's got the link.
Yeah, hell, it could be just a 3-on-3, right? We've seen... That's a heater. That's a heater into the Lava Wild.
That's a Pandora's box opened with the Wild.
Got
background's typing. He's typing a bit. Oh, does he have a run in him? A +4.
Yeah, that's a great
stopper there.
You have to do it, Seth, because if you don't do it right there, and that player throws the power play, you would have been kicking yourself. Here comes Gone. He's got a yellow 5 to go right back, though.
What has it been specifically with the yellow wilds being the flush and the lockout play card? It's been like the 4th time that's happened with the yellow wild.
Whoa!
Oh, that
was
a good...
back at ya, says Gone.
That was
+4 with a red 2. Oh, and then how about an ammunition right back? They're just throwing punches at each other now.
Trading blows.
That's Firefest, boys. The fire is engulfed now. It's up to the top. It's a game 9 for sure when you start seeing Firefest. Into the Charles Sanford. Here comes background character. Can background switch this back to blue? He goes for the KT blue. Oh, this is getting good. Does Gone have a response to the Ashley Wild? That'd be something. Was it a wild save?
They've already flushed their +4s respectively.
What on earth is game 9 here?
It's absolute
ammunition is just, they're throwing that ammunition left and right here. Gone's got to think a little bit here. They're stuck on that blue wild right now here. Ooh, what do you have in store for us, Gone?
I mean, got the power play. He's got to get in that position, though. Just because you have it doesn't mean you can secure it unless you get in that position. We've seen a lot of ammo here. Here comes Gunn typing it out. Does he have a blue save or potentially a triple play to get on an end around? Loading up. What does he look for? Another +4. Holy
Wow. Very aggressive to use these +4s like that. I'm very surprised by how aggressive they've been with them.
Yeah, I mean, Seth, this is the player as we go into the Monkey 3. This is the player who wants the most control. This is textbook William Brock. Brock loves playing this game where it's a fighter fest. As Gon is really hammering into this ammo, Yoshi into Rogers as he still continues to pile the pressure on.
Yeah, let's see if Background's got something defensive here. You said it, control. That's what they were fighting for. That's what both of them needed here in this game with that power play hanging in the balance. And that is an answer back there from Background. Not only does he hit the +2 over to Gon, but now he draws up closer at 8.
Yeah, Gon was in the red zone. Background puts him out of the red zone into the G. Yoshi, Ellison, Retro Train. Here comes Gon looking to fire right back. Does he have 2 freshies that benefited him? He does in the Chomix 8. Half off special now, DJ. Background can roll with it. Does he have any more answers? Here comes Gon.
Got some money cards in him here, rolling in the green, rolling in the dough here. Gon's typing a bit here. Oh.
Gon used a +4 to get over to green, so this might be the color he wants for a closeout.
Could it be a closeout? Could it use power play here?
Gon loading.
Never know. Could have a 6-carder.
He's thinking about it. He's thinking and stopping right now. We talked
Actually,
about
5,
Gon.
excuse me.
5 cards. It's all good,
5.
all good,
Yep.
all good. But we talked about this, Seth. He has the power play. He doesn't have to worry about finishing the game on a 4 command chain. He can just go one at a time. There's the power play.
There it is.
Ooh.
Type it out 1 card at a time is my advice here. Don't make a mistake.
Yeah, do not screw this up.
DJ mentioned rolling in the dough. Will this be the perfect pizza dough for Gon to send him home? There's a double. That's just a classic double. Yep, there we go.
No way. There's no way. Did he have 3 of the 4 +4s in this game? No.
No, it's not. Wait a minute. It's just a wait.
Whoa.
Hold the phone. It's not a winner.
He ended it on a...
Oh,
What?
He's gonna give Background a chance.
Is it a miscalculation, maybe?
Well, this is what G-Man does a lot. G does this power play, but the only difference is Background has no power play to answer anyway, so Background has a fair shot to fight it out. This is interesting. This is a split play from Gon. How does Background respond?
The only thing I can think of is he's reading the numbers and believing there's no chance for a light switch off the 7. He may have a close.
Gutsy.
There it is. There's the light switch.
But is
I
it
think
the
that
Really
might have-
gutsy, though.
Is it the +4? This is the G special, too, if it is indeed the power play for the split ammo win. Here comes Gon. Is it the last +4? We have the Grim Reaper 7 from Background, but will be the lights out Grim Reaper style from Gon at the end. Loading up. What's he got?
There it is.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is.
There it is.
That's the G style. That was expected. And it's going to be Gon. He learned that from G, 100%, because they played in the finale T2. That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous
Wow.
move. That's unbelievable. Gon, I mean, that was pretty much how you lost the series against G all the way back in the finale in T2. That same style power play where G basically says, I'm going to throw the power play, I'm going to get you a check, and then boom, +4, or whatever the next play. It's basically in a basketball tournament and one. Talk to me through how you got the job done right there, using a little bit of the Fire Fest split ammo as well to finish the job, and ultimately fighting back when Background had a lot of answers too. Background, you had a really good game there. I thought for a second after you had played that Blue Wild, you may have had something cooked, but unfortunately, that definitely unfortunately came into play. But going back to that game, do you think you could have maybe been a little bit more conservative, or you just say, you know what, caution to the wind, it's game 9. I got to throw my wilds. I got to throw everything on the chalkboard. You did a good job, ironically, after you threw that Blue Wild. Did the +4 return give you that blue +2 to at least stall the game back, or ultimately you think just Gon had a little bit too much in the back end? Yeah, Gon, talk to me through that power play and talk to me through that sequence. And that I figured. And unfortunately, Seth, the one thing we didn't see this series was draw. We didn't see many draw cities. And unfortunately, we talk about it in this league. If you don't ever get to that draw city, that plan, D onwards, it's hard to win games. And unfortunately, it was a tough loss there for Background.
Yeah, to your point, I think maybe the longest amount of time we spent in Draw City was 4 cards drawn back by both players, but then they would almost immediately find a bailout for both sides. So, with not being able to use that to your advantage to kind of ice out the other side, you saw the ammo had to be utilized pretty early on in these games to be able to establish the possession. It kind of took one of those facets of this style of gameplay out of the playbook on both sides here. Looking back here as well, I mean, I love the power play call there because I think for Gone, what he was doing was playing the odds. There was already one of the red +2s that had been utilized. There was one still out there, but he was playing the odds that in those remaining 12 cards, that background didn't have the other one. Granted, he could have maybe done a reverse get meta to wrap around to another +2, but he played the odds there and it worked out in his favor. It was a gutsy call.
And that's what it is, DJ. Sometimes to win these games, you got to make a gutsy call before we hold the phone there. Had the power play win when he hit with the +2. Kind of another similar style G-Man power play when he switched to color towards the end, but still managed to get to the end. 3+4s helped a lot. Proud how I managed to play that game. Gon, your thoughts on playing the champ, basically, of the regular season and Vapor on the next match. But DJ, it was just Gon's aggression towards the end in Game 9. The clutch moment when he needed it most, he got the job done. He'll move on. Thoughts on that? That was a great game. That whole series was
Oh my gosh, yeah. I got no words because it was so darn good. Yeah, that power play, man, I thought it was so gutsy because usually when you, at least for me, whenever you use a power play, you use it near the very end, when you know you can ice that. But that gamble, it worked. I was genuinely surprised. There's like a lot of new things you learn from the game of Uno, from how these guys play. It's just always so awesome. But man, oh, yeah, that aggression ramped up real quick because, man, Background had a great Linsanity run from 7 and 8 to even make it close, considering he had no power play from the get-go after that. So, or essentially had to run it, run from behind. So, I mean, it speaks volumes. You got to tip your hat to Background for playing it real close, making it to a Game 9. I mean, that speaks volumes on both the talent of these players here. And so, Gon was just able, that power play came into factor at the end. Obviously, we mentioned, the game where the call out came into play. That's going to play another role. That's something that Background will take notes of. Man, what a series that was, KT.
Yeah, ridiculous series. Both players laid it on the line. It was ultimately Gon getting the job done. Vapor was definitely a challenge, but I welcome here to stir explicative up. Completely understand that. Apologies for the language. All good on the stream, but yeah, I mean, what can you say? I mean, it was both players leaving it on the line. I think it came down to the switches. Ultimately, at the end there, at least in Game 8, the switches, with the defensive switch to Background, I tried to play more defensive after the power play was burned in for Gon and Background the last game. It's Game 9. You got to expect a fire fest. No one wants to go home. And in that case, the only way to prevent going home, you throw the ammo at will and go cautious to the win. There's the screen. Obviously, I don't have the update stuff, but Vapor versus Gon, the 1-8. So basically, so far, 3 out of 3 for Chalk. We've had no upsets in this round 12. Even last year, we didn't have any upsets, really, other than the 1-9. But we'll see how it goes. The final game tomorrow, it'll be Monkey and Myth for the winner to play KT. That'll be at 5 o'clock Saturday. And I want to thank DJ and Seth because we've been trying to do this 3-man booth for a long time with us 3. It was a great day. Appreciate both guys for coming in. For the rest of the fans, and Scars is our ref, what a day of Uno. That's going to wrap it up for our one game today. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 5 o'clock. I believe it's going to be me and Brock on the call. Looking forward to that one with Brock, myself, and I believe Scars might be the ref, or somebody might be the ref. I'll check later. But until then, thanks again to DJ and Seth. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you around. Congratulations to Chef Gon, winning the Battle of Europe, and he'll go give himself a pizza and enjoy himself at the end of the night. And maybe a cold one, too, out there in Ireland. For sure, matey. Have a good one out there. Stay well. We'll see you tomorrow at 5 o'clock for Monkey versus Myth. Until then, goodbye, everybody. This has been a special presentation of MRE Uno Division 1 Super League 2025.